Hey, everybody, it's Dave here, along with Matt Anderson, and we're going to talk about the anniversary of the Miracle in Minneapolis. That wonderful game where the Vikings pulled it out with the last-second heroics and beat the New Orleans Saints, and then proceeded to go on to the NFC Championship. Today on Vikings Daily SITREP, it is time for Climbing the Pockets Vikings Daily SITREP. Hey, Matt, how are you doing? You're the one that brought up this topic today.
Well, I think it's fitting, right? Like, we're recorded on the day of the Minneapolis Miracle. Like, not much else is going on. It's pretty dead silent, and so this felt like a good opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as we await other Vikings news, this is perfect to remember, what we saw that game and how, whether it be, from going out to the early lead and then Drew Brees coming back and all of us, our hearts just, and then we, the kicks, we thought we lost it, and Sean Payton doing the skull clap.
Yeah.
And until that last, few seconds.
It was probably so. I was fortunate enough to go to the game. It was happened to be like a pretty blustery winter day here in Minneapolis, and my dad had some tickets, and he was just like, "Don't want to drive down there. Like, we might lose anyway, so I'm not going to drive 40 minutes wherever he's from." So gave the tickets to me and my wife. We actually went to the game, and the experience was unlike anything else, because you talked about it, right? You alluded to the highs and the lows, right? We came out and dominated early on, and I was like, this is going to be just a freaking cakewalk. Let's just halftime, I'm feeling good. But then Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees comes out of the locker room at halftime and just starts ripping us apart, and we can't put together drives. And you get to that fourth quarter, and I don't think I wish I could have seen it on like a chart, like the energy levels within US Bank Stadium that day, because it was up. Then it was, you could have heard a pin drop in there.
Like a volume meter that's going, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. You could have heard a pin drop in there. And I don't think many fans, including myself, I mean, maybe I think that's the other thing too. Everyone was expecting quick pass, get out of bounds. Let's kick a field goal and try and win it. Well, shit. Then all of a sudden you're just watching and you see Diggs and he kind of stumbles. And then
you worry, oh no, he's tackled in bounds. The clock's going to run. Yeah.
Yep. And then you get the iconic Greg Coleman on the sideline just pointing him to the end zone. And the rest is history, man. That place, I mean, it was so loud in there. And I've never been part of an experience quite like that. And I still, to this day, like, I get chills just thinking about that moment. And I mean, I'd love to hear your experience watching that game, because I was in the stadium. But I mean, the feeling amongst Vikings fans was it was still great no matter where you were.
Well, I was at the house watching with Katie, and when Diggs did that and we won, we're yelling and screaming, he did it, and we're hugging and all this. And I had a show to do right then and after. Good Morning Gallahorn was about to go on the air with GMG and the Raw, right? And so I had Ted and I had Drew, and we're all yelling and screaming at each other over the phone and then on air with the broadcast. And it was such a good feeling. And I mean, we were hugging people for days. And how well, and we're thinking, oh, it's inevitable. We've got to, win this one out. And we won't talk about the next week. But it was such a glorious feeling. And it was literally one of the best memories in Vikings history, at the time. Vikings have been around, 62 seasons? And literally, if it's not number one, it's definitely in the top three.
You're going to be hard-pressed to find another moment that would take that spot right now.
right?
I think a Super Bowl is the only thing that would take the top seed.
Yeah, but for an individual play, it was
Oh yeah,
it was magnificent. There was I can't I can't think of any, and I've been around a long time. Um, that you know that top. I mean, we loved the Moss toss back, touchdown. That was great too, but just the the whole crowd, the whole stadium shutting up Peyton because he was making fun of us, and
send them
it
home.
was a miracle. And then Dixie going into the end zone and flipping his helmet, and you see the ref from the corner view of the camera. You see the ref throw the flag, and we're going, it doesn't matter. It's the end of the
Who
game.
cares, man? Game's over.
And we won. We don't care. And then they had to bring out, a makeshift kicking team because they hadn't
Yeah,
changed the rule yet, and they had to go for it. That was funny. But I mean,
that's
we were talking about it, and the energy was up, and the love was in the air, and it was wonderful. And like I said, Ted, Drew, and I we were ecstatic on that show afterwards, and everybody talked about it all week, and
yeah.
it was wonderful. But I wish I was there. I mean, we all saw the clips of bars going wild and
Oh my gosh.
houses, different families going wild. But I've seen a few clips of you guys that were actually at the stadium just going nuts. I would have loved to have felt that energy. It had to have been amazing. Your whole inside should have been vibrating. And
Oh, they were, man. You were just anybody nearby, right? It didn't matter if you knew them or not. You were just grabbing them and jumping and hugging and screaming, and like we were up in a club level, so there was still alcohol available up until the end of the game. So we're grabbing beers and just like dumping them on each other. We head over to the bar across the street. I forget what it's called. It was right across from the stadium there. I think it's closed down now, and they had a DJ and we were partying like until bar closed. Like you'd think we just won the Super Bowl.
right,
But I know people like to talk about, well, we didn't show up the next week. Well, that's true, but you still can't take that moment
right.
away from us.
Yeah, it's one of the best moments in Vikings history, and it always will be. Uh,
Yeah.
it just it'll be fantastic. Now, do I hope for the next best moment that Ziggy Wilf is holding up the Lombardi? Hell yes, I do. But for pure joy on the field, from depths of despair that we lost the game to pure elation, right? You can't beat that at all. It was a miracle.
I think the best part too, and obviously the fans were super excited, but just to see all the emotion from the players as well, like so many varying levels of emotion, whether it's Everson Griffin on the sideline, just hands on the head, just completely shocked, or like Case Keenum's presser afterwards, where he's just like still in disbelief, and he's just like, I threw it, he caught it, and then he just ran to the end zone. Like he still couldn't process that they had just pulled off this incredible miracle. And I think it speaks volumes to the moment, right? Because here we are 4 years later, and we're still giddy talking about it. Like anyone talks to Viking fans about Minneapolis Miracle, and they're just gonna go on a tangent. Like everybody will tell their story, and it's just incredible. It's one of my favorite parts of being a Viking fan, and that's why we watch the games every single week. As I'm wearing my Bills jersey.
Well, it's your Dixie's jersey.
It's Diggs though, so it's all good.
Well, I challenge those that view this video, tell us how you felt 4 years ago today when you watched, be it at the stadium, be it at a bar, be it at the house, be it at family, wherever you were. If you were in
Listening
a
on the radio.
USO overseas and you watched it, how did you feel? Tell us in the comments below. We'd appreciate it. And with that, Matt, thanks for joining me for this Vikings Daily SITREP.
Absolutely.
of going down memory lane and of more of a happy time. And as always, Skol Vikings! Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And if you're listening on your favorite aggregator, make sure you rate us. And always feel free to join the conversation here at Climbing the Pocket. Skol, everybody.